So you might hear some bang banging going on in this video, like, while I'm here, because I left Mr. Soap and Clay just real quick, long enough to film a video. Like, I literally just threw some stuff on my face, pulled my hair into a ponytail, and put on a real shirt so I can talk to you because we are in the final pushes of actually putting up the addition. It's also why you haven't heard from Soapbox Society, because we are raising the roof, literally 3 stories and a roof. It's all a moment, and we have to get all this done before the rain starts again. And so he is continuing to work with a thing that he doesn't need me for while I'm here doing this. So there's that. Sorry if it happens, but if it doesn't, I just told you fun stuff about my life. Yes. We're not doing a video about my life today, though. That's over at the podcast. I will tell you what we are doing in just a minute. But before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things. And you're here for week 32 of year 3. And yeah, we are continuing on with fun designs and swirls and stuff in soap today. Because I've been really missing doing swirls. And I've been enjoying actually making the videos and talking about the actual technique. Because I realized that we also haven't done a whole lot of technique type videos all year, which is wild. We've been focused on a lot of scientific stuff, a lot of deep dives, a lot of labeling and business building stuff, but not a lot of here's how you make a thing. And so today we're going to talk about how you make a thing, and that thing is going to be a beach scene in a soap using natural colorants and seeing just how much kaolin clay can work for you in a natural colorant swirled ombre beach soap design thing. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. So let's get to the video and we can talk more about all of that, there. Okay, so we are doing a beach landscape soap today and talking about natural colorants and how I do natural colorants for this particular bar. I know, I owe you a natural colorant video or series. I'm working on it. Anyway, so for this particular client, it's a bit of a challenge for me sometimes because it is one of my, I guess, kind of many wholesale accounts that do not do palm, so it's palm free, and do not do fragrances, so all of my blends have to be essential oils, and do not do any sort of micas. So we do natural colorants exclusively. Now, natural colorants, since that can be sort of a trigger thing, I tend to define for these particular clients natural colorants with infusions. And so we are talking clays, we are talking plant matter extracts and infusions like Elkana et al. In order to keep things simple, because like titanium dioxide, is that a natural colorant? I don't want to deal with it. We're just going to use kaolin clay, right? So for this particular recipe, for the brown, it's obviously a really easy one. So the infusion that I used is a natto plus some madder root, and I did it all into a slurry to get the color, and that's kind of the remainder of the slurry color that you can see within the container that I just showed you that has the scent in it, the essential oil blend. And for this particular one, I just do a slurry to spec because I don't make this bar a whole lot. But for other custom colors that I have with, just infusions and whatnot, if I were making a boatload of this, all the time, I would have this already dialed in and in like its own 1 pound, 16 ounce container of the infusion. So I didn't have to mix it up again. You know what I mean? Okay, so now that we have the beach layer laid down, we are going to the sand, we're going to focus on the water. Now, with this particular design, I decided to do an ombre for the actual, you know, beach or the water colors. And so what I'm going to be doing is starting out with the darkest blue that I ultimately get. And I am going to be putting in this right here, which is boatloads of kaolin clay. As you can see how, schloopy it is. It's very thick. There's a lot of kaolin clay dispersed in only about 2 ounces of the total oils that I did reserve from the batch before putting the lye solution in and, emulsifying the main portion of the soap oils. Now, I did go ahead and add some of the emulsified soap oils to that container as well, just to make it easier to pour everything out and make sure that I'm going to have enough. But this particular blue, this one is actually an indigo plus a woad. It's going to be heavier on the indigo than the woad. I wanted it to be a little bit purple. We do go a little bit pastel with this particular bar most of the time. And I wanted it to look good, essentially, with all of the white that's going to be going into it to lighten the color up from layer to layer. Now, as you can see, I did put the mold itself on a towel to boost it up. So we're pouring on an angle here. And just every once in a while, after I have poured, made a couple swipes with the blue, I am going to add a little bit of the kaolin clay slurry and lighten it up just a bit and then continue on. So creating a nice, dark to light with it all. I'm not going to be waiting between the layers, and I also don't really care how thin or thick my soap batter is, which is a good thing because this particular soap is it's a very heavy on the solid oils with this for a really big, beautiful bubble payoff. And so the soap batter, especially with all of the different infusions and everything within it, it can start getting pretty thick pretty fast. But I actually like that. Every single time I pour this bar, it looks a little bit different with the coloring layer, with the actual water, and I love it. I think it's super cute. And as you can see, it does start looking kind of weird and gray, right? As you're putting in the kaolin clay to use as the lightener. Now, would this be more effective with the titanium dioxide? For sure. Absolutely. It would be more effective. But as I said, since I don't do the titanium dioxide for this particular client, I'm only working with the natural colorants. It is what it is. And I have learned to, kind of work with the clay instead of putting the kaolin clay directly into all of the soaping oils as I normally do, just putting it into this piece here, which is essentially the bulk. It is the bulk of the oils, kind of in totality, because the bottom layer that I measured out is only about 12 ounces of the total batch. And so the kaolin clay is still effectively going into, the majority of the bar, just in a different way. Now, this can make it that it gets a little bit thick, a little bit fast when you are putting the clays into oils that have already hit, they've already emulsified. And so that's okay. You just learn to work with it and work fast and do the things. It's not a big deal. And the clay itself, there is a chance, if you don't really make your slurry really well, that some of your clay will end up looking, you'll see little chunks essentially within the finished bar. I think we might have gotten some within this particular pour as well. I don't know. We'll see. But I personally like it. I think it adds a really interesting, cool texture to the whole thing and makes it, interesting. And so for that reason, I don't super care, but do pay attention to how gray this looks at the, end when all of the white has been put into it, all of the kaolin clay has been put into it, and this is our final color. Pay attention to that with the pour or with the actual cut to see if it remained that kind of gray and, sad color. Now this soap, once I am done, putting everything in and, scraping all of this soap out and doing a pretty little top, it will be put through a gel phase. So we will be putting it in the oven and, doing all that. As far as whether or not it actually matters when it comes to natural colorants, I mean, you're going to be able to see with all the samples that I did for my natural colorants playlist and determine for yourself. But I mean, the TLDR on that is it depends, because there are so many different types of infusions and colorants that you can use naturally to create something. Sometimes they do benefit from a gel phase. Sometimes they do not. And so with all the samples that I did for the upcoming natural colorants playlist, you're going to be able to see what that looks like gelled versus not, because of course that's how I do all of our colorant stuff. And yeah, so again, this will be C-popped and gelled, and we will cut it, now for you, but first we have to do all the swirly swirl things and really create a fun texture, trying to build in everything that was left that I didn't scrape in from the beach layer onto the top, just to pull it together and make sure that we have a pretty top. And do believe this does get spritzed with rubbing alcohol to make sure that we do not have any sort of soda ash. And yeah, let's put it in the oven and go to the cuts so you guys can see what we're looking at after it's gone through saponification and it's had time to do its thing. Okay, now on to the cut of this, and as I said, we did C-pop, we did gel, did all that fun stuff. The bottom with the annatto and the madder root, the brownie color, the sand, it looks absolutely gorgeous, and that is one that does benefit from a gel for sure, but for the rest of it, yeah, no, it really doesn't. It's not going to brighten up. I think a gel phase would be more beneficial with an indigo if I had more indigo in it than woad. But for woad, I have not really noticed a difference. And because I had that purple, the purplish colors that you get from a woad included in my indigo, slurry or whatnot to create the blue, I get a really fun, kind of almost purple hue, like a purple gray at the end of all of it, which I really enjoy with this particular batch of soap and this soap design. Because this is a client that is in the Pacific Northwest, this is a drop in the ocean, I really wanted to sort of give a nod to that, and that we are always kind of overcast. But as you can see, it's not nearly as gray and as weird green looking as it was, when we were pouring it, when it was just, still very, very wet and we didn't know what was going on with it because of the addition of the woad. Now, with the indigo, you can actually get these bars to go a little bit more green than you would want blue, because indigo can be weird. Also, have you ever just ordered indigo and you ordered the green indigo instead of the blue? Always pay attention to that, for sure. Or, just use that and create all your cool green. But green is easy enough to create without needing extra special stuff. But as you can see within this, there are also within these little layers, which is very gorgeous, it's getting lighter and lighter up to the top. You can see some of the speckling with the kaolin clay. If you would like to not have the speckling with the kaolin, you can mix that slurry better. So put more oils in it, superfat it more, remove more of the actual soaping oils from the entire batch, and make sure it's really well and truly mixed in. You could also mix it with water, the kaolin clay. I have done that on the channel, I think maybe for this video or this particular pour and design before, and that can also help remove any of the additional little kaolin clay speckling. But for me, as I said, I like it. I think it provides some really cool interest to the bar. So it stays for me and I don't worry about it at all. But yeah, that's kind of an easy way to do, essentially using two different colors to create a really beautiful landscape soap that is, actually stunning and super simple to make. Doesn't take a lot of time. Big maximum payout. It's absolutely gorgeous. If you want this, you have to go to a drop in the ocean shop.com, and I don't actually think she has these in stock anymore, but you could go try. But anyway, that's her bar, and it's pretty gorgeous. And there it is, a gorgeous beach landscape soap with natural colorants, which is an absolutely gorgeous thing to do. Obviously, the colors are not going to be as big and as bright and as beautiful with these blues as you would find with using a mica or maybe a pigment, but it is a lovely way to incorporate essentially using two different colors / clays into a soap and then putting in the white, the kaolin clay, so I guess a third, to lighten it up and create a beautiful ombre design and really make everything just pop together. I love the look of these bars. Every time I get to make them for a drop in the ocean, I get super excited. So as a special bonus, they get stamped with a whale shark on one side and then their logo on the other. So it's gorgeous. We're winning all around. Very, very pretty. I'm in love with those. What do you think? How many times did you hear the bang banging? Are we doing okay? I really think that we heard the bang banging quite a few times, and I already explained as to the why earlier, but yeah, house addition. We're at the home stretch, and it's really exciting. So thank you to everybody, to the Sudsers and all the people who get it. I have 1,000,003 things going on. So sometimes videos are short, and this is one of those times. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I also know that I do owe you a colorants, whole week, and I am working on editing that because I ended up doing, I think, 80 in total samples, like small soaps, and as a result, the footage is really long, and so it takes a lot. Anyway, it's coming. But thank you for existing. Sudsers, thank you for being you and for being awesome. I'm out of here. Gotta go help Mr. Soap and Clay. Gotta get out of the real shirt and back into my work clothes. But I'll see you guys all again tomorrow for another round of soapy fun. Bye.